All right, everybody, I'll turn on my screen or my video so you guys can see me. Hello. I am definitely one of those people in COVID who, when I'm working from home, are in my PJs and don't really do much with myself. So you guys gave me an excuse to actually, get dressed today. So I appreciate that. We appreciate you guys being here with us. Obviously, Mark and I are kind of biased. We're both in marketing, but we feel marketing is an extremely important thing for your business. It's extremely important to continue to push your business forward, getting SEO, getting visuals within your communities. Also, just being able to really continue to get leads, because that's really what we're here for, right? Or we want to continue to grow our business. We want to continue to reach out to all of our community and continue to get the leads so that we can help our communities. So here at Job Nimbus, we thought it was extremely important to just partner with a great marketing company. We all know that sometimes within roofing, I've been in roofing for many, many years. I've seen roofers who they have their own marketing company or their marketing team, right? I've seen roofers who they lean on an agency, and I've seen roofers who, let's be honest, really don't do much with marketing. So we're here obviously to try to sway you in the direction of making sure that you're on top of your marketing game, and also just kind of give you some tips and tricks for marketing your company and how to just kind of stay above the trend. So with Job Nimbus, we partnered with WebRunner. And WebRunner is a marketing, they specify in contractor marketing. So this is awesome. They know what they're doing. Today we actually have Mark on with us, and he's the co-founder and the managing director of WebRunner. And he's going to be leading us through the slides. The Mark and WebRunner is actually based in Canada. They're based in Montreal, but they serve contractors all across Canada, all across the US. And we felt like WebRunner was a great company to partner with on the marketing side, because again, they specify in contractors, which you guys are our blood and our heartbeat of Job Nimbus, and we just appreciate you guys so much. So I'm really excited to give you this, to present this webinar. I just want a couple of things to let you guys know. There is a chat over to the side, a group chat. So please feel free to put any type of questions in there. Not only will I be interrupting Mark to ask questions that I think is maybe important for the whole group to hear, but also Mark's team is actually on the call as well. And so they will be answering some questions through that chat as it comes along. So feel free to jump in there at any point in time. I do have everyone muted just because there is a large amount of us today. But if towards the end we do have time, I'll unmute everyone, or maybe just raise your hand, or I have a question and I can unmute you, and then you'll be able to ask Mark questions directly. So in that case, Mark, I'm going to turn the time over to you, sir.
Well, thank you, Rachel. I appreciate that. I appreciate that kind intro. I'm going to turn my camera on. I'm not able to see you, Rachel. I just want to see if you guys can see me here. Let's see, start video. Is that working?
We can see you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Well, hi, everyone. So my name is Mark Levesque. Let me screen share here. And you can see my screen as well, Rachel?
Yep, I can.
Okay, great. Well, let's get right into it. Appreciate everybody being here. It's a great opportunity to get to speak to a lot of you. I know that, a lot of you guys are looking to, as Rachel said, drive more leads through this, what is a pretty challenging time. The presentation that we've put together is called The 5 Key Marketing Principles Driving Growth. And this is the underlying strategy that we're using for some of the most innovative roofing contractors across America right now. Rachel, you're not going to like me for this, but I've chosen a golf theme. I happen to like golf. I'm an amateur golfer, but I like the sport. I haven't gotten around to playing too much this year, but I've thrown some golf references in here because it helps to, make a point. And unfortunately for you, Rachel, I didn't choose, NBA, NFL, or hockey, as I know you're a fan of. But
just so you guys know, it's kind of an inside joke when we were making this presentation. So I was in the sports industry prior to moving into the roofing industry. And I was like, of course, Mark, you had to do golf. The one that I don't really know. Any other sport I can do, but golf is the one that's foreign to me. So he can make fun of me all he wants on the golf side.
There you go. And just to kind of throw it out there, I know Rachel, you mentioned it, but we do have a couple of team members that are sitting in on the call. So please feel free at any time if you do have questions, because I know you're all muted, just send your questions in through the chat. And towards the end of the presentation, we've reserved a bit of time for some Q&A. And if we don't have a chance to get to your specific question, we'll make it a point to follow up with you after the presentation, given that we'll have your email and contact info and all that good stuff. I want to make good use of everyone's time here because I know everybody's busy. Over the next 45 minutes, you're going to learn, and you've seen this through the emails that have been coming in, but the one core marketing mistake that a lot of you guys are making that's hindering your ability to grow fast. There's a secret to reaching an additional 67% of homeowners that a lot of you aren't using, and that some of your competitors don't even know about. So we're going to share some of that with you. 7 marketing metrics that you need to be tracking if growth and revenue and profitability are your focus, which they should be. And then also, very simple, efficient ways that you can add lots of revenue to your bottom line without having to go and dump a ton of more, marketing dollars into your program. Just a quick mention here. So make sure you stay till the end. It's not going to be a long presentation. I'm going to do my best to zip through it. If you stay till the end, we're going to pick one attendee who's sitting in on the call, and we're going to be giving away a landing page, and that's valued at around $1,500. We'll do a full discovery. We'll design a killer landing page for you. And regardless of whether or not you've got a website, a landing page is useful. If you're not familiar with what that is, stick around because I will be covering that on the webinar as well. And Rachel, you'll be helping us pick a winner at the end there, right?
Yep, I will. So you guys can start bribing me now.
Accepting brown envelopes.
Yep. I definitely was our bribing. That's no problem.
So as Rachel mentioned, my name is Mark Levesque. I'm one of the co-founders here at WebRunner Media. She mentioned, we're a marketing agency. We help contractors specifically to generate leads. I've been featured on some of the websites that you see here. Some of these are podcasts and blogs, and I enjoy being on the speaking track. We get to learn from a lot of people and also share some of what we've learned over the years, and potentially help people fast track success. Contractor Success Academy, as you see down here, that's something that we started. It's a blog, it's a YouTube channel. We're evolving our own sort of content marketing game, so check that out if you've never heard of that. A little bit about WebRunner to kind of dig a bit deeper here. So say goodbye to unreliable lead flow. That's what we really try to solve for contractors. As you can see, we help contractors generate leads more predictably through pay-per-click. Synonymous with pay-per-click, you'll hear paid media, paid ads, PPC, SEM. These are all terms that represent what we do here. And in large part, what constitutes that is, creatives. So the ads, we write the ads, we design the ads, we create landing pages that are conducive to very high conversion rates. And one of the things that makes us successful is our ability to connect and play nice with a lot of the industry tools and technologies that many of you are already using. And I'll touch on that in just a second. The bulk of the advertising dollars that we invest are across most of the networks and the paid media platforms that most of you guys are already all familiar with: Google, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and there are many, many more. But ultimately, that's where, that's our wheelhouse. That's where we're spending our time and energy. In terms of partnerships, so collectively, and you've got Job Nimbus right here in the middle, we collectively partner with the biggest and the best in the industry, be it from manufacturing level right down to the best of breed tools and technology in the space. And what that does is just helps you maximize the ROI on whatever you're doing from a marketing standpoint. A little bit more about us. So WebRunner, our team is really made up of campaign managers, conversion designers, and then some customer success folks. And we're all geared up with our standard operating procedures, well-oiled processes geared to help you guys get better results. Again, maximizing your dollars that you're putting into marketing. We've been in business for just over 8 years. We've overseen $60 million in ad spend, and we've worked directly with over 120 roofing contractors specifically. And I'm mentioning roofing. We do work with companies that aren't roofers. We're in the home remodeling space. The bulk of our clientele happen to be roofers, and that's why we're here today. But we also work with companies that do windows and doors, siding, foundation repair. We've got a couple HVAC customers, things like that. But for the most part, our business is really focused on home improvement. And I think we've done a pretty good job of keeping a nice reputation and delivering results for our customers. And in terms of the customers we serve, it's from startups right up to $100 million plus companies, and then of course everything in between.
And just to kind of add on to Mark's thing, you guys, just so you guys are aware, and I think one of my contractors put us the absolute best one time when we're talking about all the different companies working together, right? WebRunner works with a whole bunch of host of companies and partners. We at Job Nimbus work with a whole bunch of hosts and partners. It is so essential for you guys because it makes it so that everything talks to one another, right? One of my contractors said it great one time. He says, you need to make a straight line. My leads need to talk to my CRM. My CRM needs to talk to my measurements. My measurements need to talk to this, and this needs to talk to, all the way to sending my material order to Beacon, right? And once you make that straight line between everything, you have the quintessential, efficiency of a company. And so just to kind of highlight even more, that's so important. So when you are looking for companies that you maybe want to partner with in a CRM space, if you're not with Job Nimbus, or in a marketing space like with WebRunner, look for someone out there who plays nice in the sandbox with everyone else, because that's going to make your life so much easier.
Yeah.
Oh, you're muted, Mark. Sorry. Ooh.
There we go. I unmuted myself.
Sorry.
Yeah, so that's a great point, Rachel. And I think, not having these platforms talk to one another is akin to having, tons of blind spots in your business. Definitely something you want to avoid. I've got the quick poll slide up here, Rachel. I know you're manning that. So just a couple of questions before we kind of kick into to the bulk of the presentation here.
Yep, and you guys should see it, and we'll get some live polling. So first and foremost, it's just, do you have an in-house marketing team, right? Again, like I said, a lot of people have, a lot of people don't. Just completely, we're just curious on how you guys are running your marketing. And then also just kind of costs, how much are you guys spending in a month for your marketing? So we'll let that all come in. Right. So quite a few more than I thought about an in-house marketing team. That's great. So obviously having an in-house marketing team, I'm guessing it's probably one person, maybe two. That you might have, but no, that's normal. Okay. For all of you guys who said, no, I don't have an in-marketing team. Yep. That's okay. We know it happens. And the amount of money, what would you say, Mark? Have you seen, I would say less than 5K is something that I've seen for, a lot of my roofers. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of different rules of thumb. I think the percentage of revenue that we're used to seeing will be anywhere from 3 to 5% on the lower end, upwards of 12 to 15+% for those high growth companies in terms of cost over revenue from a marketing standpoint. So anywhere in between. So in terms of monthly spend, I guess it's going to come down to where you're at in your business. Are you a startup? Or are you a little bit more established and looking to scale? Anything else to add on that, Rachel, before I can move on? Or
Nope, I think we're good. I'll go ahead and end the poll. Thanks, you guys, and go ahead.
Perfect. All right. Oh, you got some results there. Okay, nice. Okay, interesting, cool. Well, and just, if I can speak, Rachel, to your point about in-house marketing teams or not, we're big proponents in doing a lot of the marketing in-house. There's many things that are difficult to outsource simply because a marketing team is not necessarily in your market, they're not in your office, they're not speaking to your customers. And so we'll maybe touch on that a little bit later, but it's definitely great to have marketing resources in-house. And so if you don't at the moment, that should be something that you're lining yourself up for, because you'll be able to scale a lot faster if you start adding some marketing personnel, some marketing resources, some talent internal. It's very difficult to outsource everything. So guys, here I am saying sorry, and it's not because I'm Canadian. I've got a picture of a silver bullet here, and I put this up on the slide because with everything that's going on right now, I know people are focusing their time, they're trying to manage cash flows, their teams. I know, not too long ago, people have had to furlough employees. And so it's definitely trialing times. The last thing you guys want to be looking for is a silver bullet. It's not about trying to find that elusive silver bullet, that one thing that's going to fix all of our problem. And this presentation is really quite the opposite. There's nothing really revolutionary that I'm going to share with you here, but these are serious principles, fundamental principles that are helping some really innovative companies level up big time. And so they might not necessarily seem like I said, that revolutionary, but believe me, if you implement these into your business, it is going to help you get some serious results. So the number one principle, let's start with this. Again, back to our theme of golf. Here on the left-hand side, you see some beautiful, Rachel, these are called blades, so irons. More expensive, very, very hard to hit a ball with these because the sweet spot on the club is very small. And on the right-hand side, you've got old, used, mucked up clubs. So here the idea, what we see, own instead of rent, this is how you want to think about your marketing. You want to be in full control. And so if we correlate this to golf, if I had any intention of becoming pro one day, becoming an expert golfer, making it to the PGA, win some tournaments, I cannot be at the mercy of whatever old rusty set of golf clubs are available at the clubhouse that day that I want to go in and practice, right? So if my intention isn't to go pro and it's only to play golf once or twice in maybe my lifetime, that's fine. I can show up to the course, rent a bag of clubs, and I'm on my merry way. But most of us in the contracting space, we're not looking to just dabble and do a couple projects here. We want to build some serious businesses with some serious revenue so that we can live a certain lifestyle and allow a lot of our team members, our employees, to have certain lifestyles. So you need to make a serious commitment. And so again, with golf, that would be a matter of buying yourself a set of clubs. You hire a coach, you learn the swing, you get the fundamentals down pat. If we look at marketing, well, what does renting look like, right? And there's a lot of different ways that you can generate leads, but the reality is if your ability to generate leads, if you're not in control of that and you can't predictably determine how many leads you're going to generate tomorrow, next week, next month, or this year, you're not in control and you're renting clubs, and you need to get yourself a set of clubs fast and learn how to use them. So from a marketing standpoint, renting, if you're renting right now, competition is always going to be fierce. Whether you're renting or you own a marketing system, you're going to be faced with competition. But when you rent, you don't have the ability to get your brand out there. And so when you're interfacing with prospects, with opportunities, with leads, there's no brand affinity. You're no different than the other 2, 3, 4 people that are reaching out to that homeowner, right? What happens is you end up competing on price, because in large part, this is the mindset of that homeowner, of that consumer, when they were online and they happen to fill something out, and now they're being bombarded by a couple of contractors reaching out. You don't own data. So yes, you've got customer contact info and you're trying to race to get to them quickly before anyone else does, but that's kind of your one chance, right? If you don't set that appointment because you're either too late or someone else did or whatnot, you've got little to kind of backtrack on there. In terms of brand building, long-term, there's none. There's no long-term brand building. So really, you've just got no control when you're renting. Owning is completely the opposite. Yes, it's still competitive. Yes, you're going to have a good sales process, and you might still get those price conscious consumers. But you have the ability to get your brand out there and build a certain type of connection with a homeowner, such that when you meet them, they feel like they already know you. They're leaning towards your company because they've been exposed to your brand and what you do and how you do it. And so there's that emotional connection that has been created through marketing. Again, value that comes through owning a program. Naturally, this leads to them being a little bit less sensitive when it comes to price. And because you own your data, if you're not able to capitalize on that opportunity right away, which you'll see later on in marketing, it's not like, one call close, right? You're going to have to, hit somebody once and then continue to serve them up ads and get back in front of them before that person becomes a lead. But you own the data, and so you have the ability to do that. And then ultimately, because you're putting branded ads out there, you are creating, building a brand over time, which in turn leads to more referrals, more word of mouth, and just more exposure in your local market. And that's what we all want, those inbound organic leads. So ultimately, this gives you a lot more control and puts you in the driver's seat, so that you can, scale your business more predictably. So what am I talking about when we're saying warm branded inbound leads? Well, here's a couple examples I just pulled from an inbox. So when a lead comes in, and we've blurred out some of this stuff here, but messages like this: require roofing replacement for home and detached 2-car garage. I mean, that's pretty specific. If this person here found you online, they went to your website or your webpage, and they reached out to you specifically, left you that message, you know what they searched, that's a pretty warm lead, I would say, pretty targeted. Here's another one. Part of the house roofs have some issues with some of the roof. This came in from Google, and they were looking for a new asphalt roof. Again, pretty targeted. And then you get some like this: I need roofing, siding, and windows, interested in 0% financing. And so we know where people came from. We know what campaign drove that lead, and we know what they were looking for. So financing is really important. So again, there's a lot of resources here that empower your sales team to have a very tailored conversation. Here's another one. Our house is approximately 60 years old, and the existing roof has been on the house since 1997. We're looking to have dimensional 50-year shingles installed. This came in from Facebook, but they left Facebook. They went to a website. They read some information. They may have been retargeted. We'll touch on what that means later. But again, warm, branded inbound leads. You're in the driver's seat. This is the equivalent of what owning a system looks like. People are choosing to reach out to you. So that's really principle number 1. Principle number 2, if you've ever played a round of golf, you've likely heard this expression thrown around the course. You drive for show and you putt for dough. And so there's this ongoing debate between what's more important. Is it to be able to crush a ball down a stretch, 300-400 yards, or is it to have skills and soft hands when you're on the green and make those putts in 1 or 2 strokes every single time? The reality is, if you look at the PGA, if you look at any of the pros, they're not one-dimensional. They excel at almost every aspect of the game. And so from a marketing perspective, yes, even as a contractor, when you look at marketing, you need to be able to dominate every aspect of the game. And unfortunately, a lot of us just kind of leave that up to chance, and we focus on one very, very, very specific area of marketing. And that's typically the low-hanging fruit. It's what everyone wants to go after. So here's a quote from Salesforce. 20 years ago or so, the average consumer, homeowners, right, would use only 2 touch points when buying something, right? And now with the advent of digital and media, and based on the fact that we're also connected these days, consumers now are going to use anywhere from 5 to 20 touch points. And there are many other sources that report much higher than this, depending on the product and the price points. But ultimately, you can see that it's 10x what it used to be in terms of interactions brands are able to have with homeowners and consumers. So what does this do? Well, it gives us an opportunity, right, to have ongoing conversations with people over a stretched out period of time. Before, the traditional buyer period used to look a little bit something like this. So you have marketing, which was responsible to get you in front of people who had a certain type of intent, a certain interest. And then sales would kick in and walk people through the consideration and the decision stage, okay? And today, the modern buyer journey is quite different. That consideration stage is much, much, much longer. And so marketing, it can be more impactful in both of these stages. And again, just another data point for you, 57% of decisions are made before homeowner even speaks to someone from your company. And many sources will report that stat, 57, 60%, somewhere around there. And you guys can probably all attest to that when you're having conversations with homeowners, most of them will have, an insight into what it is that they're looking for. And from the leads that I've just shown you, you see it's the same thing. I'm looking for a certain type of shingle. I want to replace XYZ. And this is the specific finance program that is of interest to me, right? So well-researched homeowners. Let's look at the buyer journey from a different perspective here in the form of a pyramid. So when we talk about not being one-dimensional and mastering all aspects of the game, we're talking about not just targeting that 3% of people who are ready to buy. We're talking about going after that whole 67% of people here, which is up for grabs, that can over time, not necessarily right away, but that can over time turn into a customer. These are all people that are going to buy, right? Not necessarily right now. So what does a 3% look like? This is what's most common. Years ago, you'd be able to get by with just firing up a good old, Google ad. So when someone does a search, your ad shows up, you bring them to a page, and if they convert, fantastic. If they don't, well, too bad, so sad, right? And a lot of us are still doing this, unfortunately, right? We're like one-trick ponies where, we're thinking, okay, I need, again, that silver bullet. What's that ad that I'm going to crush it with? That didn't work. Let's try another one. There needs to be a lot more that goes into your marketing program. And this is really what reaching that other 67% look like. So again, you could start with your Google searches, right? Get in front of people, but you have to expect that a good chunk of people are not going to commit right away. And so they're going to leave your website. And when they leave, you need to put elements in place to get back in front of them. And so our good friend Dan here, he knows that when people hit his landing pages or his website, they're going to leave. So now he leverages that opportunity to get back in front of them on Facebook and on LinkedIn and on YouTube and through display ads. And what that does is it creates, it helps to create more of a bond, more of an attachment, more brand awareness around his company, his service offering, who he serves, and why he's likely the safest choice for roofing in his market. And so what happens is later on, you start getting a lot more organic, branded inbound search. Somebody's unmuted there, Rachel.
They are muted now. We're good.
Okay, good. And then what happens is people do branded searches. Again, bring them back to the website, which our ultimate goal, was from the beginning was to get that lead and then turn them into a sale. So I hope this makes sense for people. Don't just target that 3%. Go after that 70% that's available to you. Don't be one-dimensional. Master all aspects of the game. Now, in terms of the game, again, it's very difficult to improve if you don't keep score. And coming back to golf, Rachel, one thing that's very common is people measuring, hey, here's how far I can drive. And that, ultimately is kind of useless. Yes, it helps you get on the green faster, but you're not necessarily going to improve your game just because you can drive the ball 300-400 yards. So what do people do? Well, scorecards, they're analyzing every aspect of their game, from the tee, fairways, their approach on the green, and then where are they weak? And then guess what they do? They spend a lot of time practicing to try and improve the aspects of their game where they're weak, and then double down on where they're strong, right? So when we tie that back to marketing, a lot of us get blinded by what we call vanity metrics. And so whether we're doing our marketing in-house or whether we're working with outside firms, we have a lot of conversations with people that are just baffled by, marketing. They get marketing reports. They don't necessarily know what all the metrics mean. And it's just confusing, oftentimes overwhelming. And there's a lot of emphasis and focus put on, frankly, the wrong metrics, right? If you're a marketer who is actively running campaigns daily, these are the type of things that you want to be paying close attention to. Your traffic, your impressions, your clicks, your click-through rates, your positions and rankings, your likes, because these are signals that help you determine if the campaign, the ad, the creative, the copy, if what you're testing is working. But from a business owner's perspective, not what you want to be focusing on when it comes to reporting, because it doesn't tell you whether you should put more money into it, scale your spend back, it just doesn't. And so we tell business owners, you need to be focusing on the take it to the bank metrics, right? Things that translate to hard dollars, revenue, profit. So what does that look like in marketing? Well, your marketing is geared to generate leads, but you're looking at the rate at which those leads turn into appointments. So the valid lead rate, the rate at which you set appointments, how you close, right? So closing is important. You'll have a general closing rate, but all of your lead sources are closing at different percentages. You need to know that, because if you're limited in terms of cash flow, well, why are you spending money on an avenue which is yielding subpar results if you know that, hey, you can close leads at a higher rate if they're coming in from Google or Facebook or referrals or whatever? You need to know those things. So your marketing data needs to speak to these points. Your cost per lead, more importantly, your cost to acquire a customer, right? This is where a lot of people go wrong, is they're shopping lead prices. How much are your leads? How much can you drive my lead cost down? Yes, it's important because it leads to a lower acquisition cost, but really the North Star metric when it comes to customer acquisition is, what does it cost you to acquire that customer, right? That kind of evens the playing field. Now you're comparing apples to apples. Lead costs don't give you the whole picture, because just because a lead may cost less, if the closing is much, much, much lower, then it's going to cost you a lot more to acquire a customer. And then once you've got this data and you tie revenue to it, so again, one of the benefits of, again, like Rachel mentioned earlier on, tying into the different technologies and tools, Job Nimbus, for example, your leads get pushed into Job Nimbus. And when these deals are marked as won, now you've got revenue data. And when that's communicated to us, we're able to show you a return on your actual spend, which gives you your cost over revenue. And now okay, how can I scale my business? This is something that, I like to put into these presentations, because prior to working with anyone, we'll go through just a quick, forecasting exercise to see if financially it does working together make sense. So we're going to ask things like, hey, what's your average ticket price? What are you selling, right? We want to know each services. Is it residential? Is it retail? Is it insurance? Is it commercial? It might be different for different markets. What do your gross profits look like for each of these? What's your closing rate for each of these? And then we bring our marketing data based on, existing market, data, based on the geography you're in, all that sort of stuff. And we tie the data together and see, does it make sense, right? If what we think it's going to cost us to acquire a lead and tie to your closing rate, is that going to yield a cost to acquire a customer that makes financial sense for you? And is what you're looking to put into marketing going to yield enough volume of leads for you to hit your yearly, revenue goal, be it yearly, quarterly, or whatever, right? So we kind of start with the end and we work backwards. So again, that's the reason why it's important to look at these type of metrics and not just the marketing metrics. So this is great for in-house or for marketing people, but as business owners, we've got to be looking at this stuff here, okay? Beyond that, now we've got to keep score. So reporting dashboards are super important, right? If you're getting a 20, 30, 40 page marketing report from a marketing company weekly or monthly, you don't really know what it all means, scrap it. Don't waste your time. You need a simple dashboard that tells you what's happening. You want to see staircase growth. You want to be able to look at month over month, quarter over quarter. You want to be able to break down your lead sources. This is a sample dashboard that we'll share with customers. And, we want to look at revenue. We want to look at cost. We want to look at return on the ad spend. What's the closing rate? What's the closing rate by source? Number of new customers, the cost to acquire a customer. That's the kind of stuff you need to look at, right? When you look at closing, you might see that, my cost per lead is low, in one area. But you know what? It's actually costing me a lot to acquire the customer because my closing is really, really terrible on that lead source. Okay, great. Now you've got all your lead sources broken down and you can make actionable decisions. So very important to keep score so that you can improve wherever it is that you might be falling short. We're okay on time, Rachel?
Oh yeah, we're doing good.
Good. So something that I learned from my father, from a young age, when I would do home reno projects with him, he'd tell me, Mark, there's many different ways to get to an end result. He says, but I'll tell you one thing, if you've got the right tool, it's half the battle. And I know this from firsthand experience, because not having the right tools, you're going to work 2, 3 times, 4 times as hard. And so when you relate this to golf, if your ball ends up in the bunker like this, yeah, you can probably get the ball out of the sand using a driver or a putter, but it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you in time, and it's going to cost you in strokes. So anyone knows that, hey, if you're in the bunker, you need a sand wedge, you need to place yourself in a 45, you need to swing, follow through. There's a certain technique. There's a way to get out of the sand, and people who've practiced this can do it efficiently. So having the right tools, half the battle. When it comes to marketing, you definitely don't want to cut corners. There are myriad tools available to us as marketers, to you guys as business owners. If I go back to that slide early on, there was tons of tools there that we had listed. Podium, Broadly, Hatch, Drum Industry Serum, all these tools are indispensable resources that can really help you elevate your business. But if you're not leveraging them properly, they're not going to do you any good. Especially now with everything going digital and virtual, and talking Leap and Sumo Quote and all these different platforms, these are really, really powerful technologies. In terms of marketing, one of our core tools, and I'm just going to touch on one here for the sake of time, landing pages. A lot of people say, Mark, why do I need a landing page? I just invested in a great looking website. I think the site looks good. We're getting some traffic. Our organic, rankings are going up, but why would I need a landing page? Why do I have to pay you guys to do a landing page? And the reality here is that we can be a lot more nimble with a landing page. You can tailor the message. You can be a lot more relevant. Landing pages, we aim to have a couple hundred words on them, not more, not less. We make them specific to what somebody might be interested in. So if they did a search for something specific, well, that's the only thing you want to be talking about on that page, not 10 other services. We make sure they're really on brand. We focus on the user experience. So how are these on desktops? How are they on mobile? Do people prefer to call your company? Do they want to fill out forms? Are they going to be more inclined to start a live chat or send you a text message? These are all things that you want to test. And unfortunately, the testing goes to the wayside if it's all done through a website fairly often. With a landing page, you can be more nimble, and you can quickly duplicate pages and run tests, which is neat. A couple other things in here that we include with landing pages, well, social proof. So oftentimes websites will have a lot of information because we're trying to feed search engines what they want at the detriment of the consumer, the homeowner, right? So the homeowner might get this page that's maybe overwhelming with content, maybe a bit too wordy, and difficult to kind of scan or skim through. So if we're designing these pages, we want to make sure that they're very light, they get to the point quickly, and there's a lot of social proof. The offers are very strong, very clear, very compelling, right? So people know exactly what to do. Here's an example of a best practice landing page in use. So we don't guess, we measure. We say, hey, let's launch a landing page and let's put some dollars behind it. So version A here, and you guys have probably heard the term split testing and A/B testing thrown around in marketing before. Well, this is exactly what this is. This is split testing. So we'll launch a landing page for a customer. We'll put some budget behind it. And based on the market they're in, this was somebody local. The average click cost was around $10. So that $8,000 is going to net 800 visitors. And this is on a month-to-month basis. So what does that translate to? Well, this particular landing page was able to result in a conversion rate of 6.4%, which ultimately leads to 51 leads. Not bad, right? Let's run a test though. Let's see, could we improve this, right? Could we bump that conversion rate up a little bit? So variant B, what did we do? Well, we put a big before and after picture, highlighted that there. We kept the form above the fold, call to action, phone number, all that good stuff. Kept the bottom of the page and made away with some of these other services. So really we shortened it. So this is a split test. There's a multitude of things that were changed, but it's still very, very similar. Okay. Same budget, same cost per click, results in the same visitors. I think we all agree. But now you bump your conversion rate up 2-point-something%, which in the grand scheme of things, it might not seem like much, but it is. You're talking almost 50% improvement there. So 9.1%, what does that result in? Well, 22 additional leads from the same budget. Okay, what does 22 additional leads do for your business? We're talking same marketing spend here. So spent the same thing the following month, but an additional 22 leads, which resulted, if your closing is 18, 20 some odd percent, you're looking at 4 additional sales. And for this particular customer at 7,500 per sale, you're talking a bump in revenue of 30K with $12,000 in profit. Multiply this per month, you're talking 6-figure increase by changing a landing page, which all in all, changing a landing page like this doesn't take an enormous amount of time, right? But we could have tested many, many, many different pages, many different variations. It could have gone the opposite way. So again, I'm underlining the fact here that you've got to leverage the tools that are available to you in order to try to push the envelope and drive results. You don't want to be satisfied with status quo when you talk about marketing, because there's some low-hanging fruit there. There's money just, waiting to be picked up. Okay.
Hey, Mark, real quick, we have a question.
Yeah.
So it says, for a company that has divisions, is it better to have a landing page for each service? And what about social media in this case? If you have a landing page for each service, how do you do that on Facebook and Instagram? And how would you direct them back to the main website?
Okay, so the answer is resounding yes, absolutely. You should be using landing pages for a service. I can take, we can do website audits, and we can look at, any service page on a website typically is missing a couple elements. Phone numbers are not always very visible. There's sometimes no mention of financing. There's not enough customer testimonials and proof. There's no before and after shots. Look at anyone on the call right now. Go and look at your service pages on your website. If someone's looking for metal, residential metal roofing, go to your metal roofing page and look what's on that page. Does it have all of these elements, right? Do you have the before and after? Do you have all the testimonials? Do you have the financing? Do you have the visible form? Do you have a way for people to call? Do you have the chat on there? Do you have all your guarantee stuff? That's what a landing page has to have on it. And very often it's missing information. It might have a lot of information to tell a search engine, hey, this page is all about metal roofing. There might be tons of backlinks pointing to that page to try to get it to rank organically on Google, but it's not necessarily done with the consumer in mind. Now, I'm making some big generalizations here. I'm not saying that this is going to be the case for everyone, but a lot of websites that we audit, this is the case. So you want to have a dedicated landing page. And if you're making any kind of offer across any channel, be it search, social, you brought up social, Rachel, be it Facebook, Instagram, if you're trying to drive somebody somewhere to take an action, make sure it's a landing page, because you can track what's happening with that landing page. You can remarket, get back in front of people who didn't turn into a lead. And that's the benefit of it. People get a little bit too caught up with, I want to bring people back to my website. I want to bring people back to what's the point? Why are you trying to do that? A landing page has one objective, and that's to convert a visitor into a lead. It's not to bring people back to your website so they can spend an hour or 2 hours researching and reading every single word on your content to educate themselves. That's not your goal. Your goal is to get them to reach out to you. And you have a sales team who's going to do a better job of explaining to that consumer why this is the best product, why you are the best company. Right?
Yeah, and just so that everyone knows, they're asking, landing pages will be separate website in this case. So it's, think of it, you have your website, right? You have your main website that you have all your information, maybe all your different services, but just like Mark said, a landing page is like an extra, let's say an extra click on your website that specifically takes you to a page just for conversion. That's it.
Yeah.
So very short, sweet, to the point, just like if we're selling to you guys, right? Let's think about how we market to everyone else, Job Nimbus or any of your other. Short, sweet, to the point. You guys don't want a lot of words. You guys don't want a lot of mumbo jumbo on that page. You want to know what you want to know, and you want to sign up and get more information. So that's really the key of the landing page, whereas your website is way more detail oriented about your specific company. Mark, do you have any more to add to that?
No, I think that's it, Rachel. You know, from a technical standpoint, if people want to know how or what we use, it's simple. We use a technology called Unbounce. It's a company out of Vancouver. They are probably the leading landing page development, software platform around. They just got a huge investment by a private equity firm, so they're starting to add a lot more AI and machine learning functionality into the platform, which is cool for marketers like us. But ultimately, we're an enterprise user of that technology. It helps us build pages at lightning speed. It's got all the testing functionality built in, and these pages, we host them on customers' websites. Most often people are using WordPress nowadays for their websites, and so these landing pages that we design will go and host them right on your existing website. But the reality is, if people are on these landing pages, it's because they got there through a paid ad, be it on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Google, on LinkedIn, on what have you, right? The idea is not for people to get to that paid ad from your website or to go from your landing page over to your website. We're trying to get, like you said, Rachel, you're doing a webinar. Hey, we need a landing page for a webinar. That landing page is geared to get people to sign up to a webinar. That's it, So there you have it. And happy to have, like I said, further conversation with anyone who's still unclear about how to employ the use of landing pages. The last principle that I want to share with you guys here, and don't leave because we still got that contest. We're going to answer some questions. There's a couple other things I want to go through with you, but the notion of finishing your swing. So like any good golfer, you'll never see a golfer wind up for his shot, come down, hit the ball and stop right down there. No, they're going to finish. They're going to follow through. Club's going to go right around over the shoulder, and it's going to finish like this. It's going to look like that, called a picture perfect swing. From a marketing standpoint, is very, very similar. Unfortunately, a lot of us we're thinking acquisition, marketing, leads, get customers, onto the next, right? And it stops there. So when we look at the customer journey, it's all right, cool. Let's put a bunch of dollars in here. Let's drive awareness. Let's convince them to buy, boom, decision, and it stops. Now we go on to the next. But what about here? What happens at the delight phase? And oftentimes there's a lot of neglect here. And I would bet that this is where there's probably the biggest opportunity for people. If you're doing all the other stuff that I've mentioned and I've shared, okay, great. Are you doing this stuff here? You've got to stretch the dollar, right? Whatever that amount is, and you all answered what you're putting into marketing on a month-to-month basis, but whatever those dollars are, those dollar figures are, you can get a better return from those same dollars without having to go and invest more. So what does that look like? So great, you're generating leads, you're acquiring customers. What are you doing post-sale? So this is one of my buddies, Daniel Young, out in Indianapolis. And I use him a lot because he's a practitioner. He's put the marketing hat on. He's gotten into the trenches. He's recorded the videos. He's talking to customers. He's doing sales. He's getting up on the roof. He is invested in his business. He's got that winner mentality. Sales happen. His team is getting rave reviews from customers. These reviews then get shared across social media, be it LinkedIn. And I see Dan is pretty active on LinkedIn and on Facebook, and he's sharing what their values are and, why they take pride in doing what they do and how they help people and all that good stuff. And then once they've been able to identify who their advocates are and who their loyal fans and followers are, they reward them and they take care of them. And Dan puts, loyalty programs in place where he incentivizes homeowners to go out of their way, homeowners, customers, to talk to other people about their service and the great experience that they have. And for him, word of mouth, referrals, these are some of the best lead sources, and they drive a lot of revenue for him. And then because of the great experience that he delivers, he's able to get customers to commit to reserving time out of their schedule to get on camera, to say a couple words, to talk about the experience, to talk about their problem. And as much as you guys can go out there and tell people, hey, we do X and Y and Z, and we use X and Y and Z products, and we use this, this process to install and all that, that's great. But it will be much more powerful when it comes from your customer, because your prospects will resonate more with customers who have the same problems they've had, right? It just comes off as more authentic, more genuine. This is the kind of stuff you got to be doing. And this is what I'm referring to when I say stretch your marketing dollars. So whether it's $1,000, $10,000, or $100,000 a month that you're investing, these fundamentals still apply. It doesn't matter what scale, what size you're at. So just quickly,
and just to kind of really quickly on that, you guys, I know a lot of the owners, they don't want to be super active on social media. They may just look at it as a side note or not that big of a deal. If you are a marketing person or an office staff, it is so essential to get your owners active on social media, even if it's just you guys doing it for them. Remember who you're selling to. The majority of people who are buying homes or needing new roofs are now millennials, right? And with the change of millennials being the main purchase power, the way that we market to them is so much more different. They want to see a person. They want to be able to know what good you guys are doing in the world and what kind of great services you are and funny, joking, I don't know, things that your owners do, right? They want you to be a person, not just someone behind the nail gun. And so it's super important what Mark's saying is just be active on social media. And then on top of that, you have the whole aspect of reputation management that he hit on too. Super, super important because again, whenever you're purchasing something, do you look at reviews? I know I do. I read normally about 5 good ones and 5 bad ones. And but they are extremely important. And if you guys do not want to do that, there is a ton of softwares out there that will help you with your reputation management as well. So just note that that's there to assist you. Okay, sorry, Mark, go ahead.
No, absolutely, Rachel. I appreciate that. And like you said, I think, yeah, the consumers are evolving, they're changing. So the way that we connect, the way that we market, speed to lead is important. We got to make it easy to get in contact with us. We got to make that experience, customer experience. People are starting to focus a lot more on that now, right? And to deliver that wow factor. So it's one thing to install a roof, but that whole experience is really, really, really important. Recap. So own your marketing. Don't be at the mercy of rented clubs, right? You never know what you're going to get. Be in control. Get in the driver's seat. Learn. Become a practitioner. Implement these things in your business. Market to the whole buyer journey, right? The 3%. There's that whole 6-7% which is available to you, and so you got to marry all these networks, these platforms together, and start, paying close attention to the fact that people aren't just going to find you and buy. No, they're going to find you and they're going to shop, and it's going to take time. And it can be days, it can be weeks, but that's your window of opportunity that you've got to leverage. Measure what matters. Drop the 20-page marketing reports that are, purposely created to kind of, make you seem like stuff's happening here. And might sound like I'm putting down other agencies out there, but there are some great agencies. It's not everyone that does that, but it is a tactic. You get a lot of, robust marketing reports that don't tell you a whole lot. Use the right marketing tools. And Rachel, you alluded to that. There are a ton of great technology platforms out there, which all talk to each other now. Hover, Company Cam, Leap, it's CRMs. I mean, it's huge. The ecosystem's big, and a lot of these players, integrate nicely together. Market beyond the sale. So like our good friend Daniel Young from Kingdom, I mean, he's very big on that, and it's yielding dividends for him. So I'd like to leave you with this quote. And Rachel, I did this for you. I put Michael Jordan in here because, you mentioned that golf wasn't necessarily the forte. So I got a little bit of NBA in here, but I'll let you know also Michael Jordan did play some golf. So it works with my theme as well. So you're happy, I'm happy. So what does Mike say? So Mike says, I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot, and I've missed. I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. And in large part, this is why people work with firms like us. It's so that we can fail and fail and fail for the purpose of figuring out what is going to be the winning solution for them. So when we look at ads, which happens to be our specialty, it's not always hole-in-ones. It's not always grand slams or home runs. Sometimes the idea is to just get on base and scale. So as you've seen with that landing page example, with the testing with landing pages, testing with ads, you need to be invested. And over time, if you're in control of that system, it can evolve and it can improve and it can get better. And because you own your data, you're in much more control. So scaling your business becomes a lot more predictable and less of this, mysterious, whimsical dream. So thank you very much, everyone. I hope, tried to respect the time frame that we had allotted. If anyone's interested in having a conversation with us, you've got options. Just you can, fire off a quick chat saying, hey, I want to talk. I don't know if we have a poll question here people can answer or not, Rachel, but very simply, they can also go to webrunnermedia.com and there's a dedicated Job Nimbus page. So webrunnermedia.com/jobnimbus. Anyone who's running ads at the moment right now, I will say that we're open to doing a free ad audit. So regardless of the platform, you know, we'll be happy to check that out for you guys, pro bono, no charge. And then we'll come back to you guys with some findings. So we're not going to give you a 20-page, PDF, right? But we'll spend a couple hours, do the audits, hop on the phone, and share what our findings are with you guys.
Yeah, and I was just going to say too, we focused a lot on social, right? And on websites and internet marketing. You guys, there's a whole slew of outbound actual mail marketing too. And it's found too that mailers are actually starting to get more traction. So I know there was definitely a point in time where everybody was like, no, do not send mail, right? It is annoying. And let's be honest, I throw a lot away too. But conversion rates for mail has actually started to pick up. So if you are definitely, interested in expanding not just online presence and brand, but definitely look at some of your mail options as well. I know a company in the DFW area, they did a great one. They did just door hangers. So if they had a scheduled meeting around that, what they do, they knocked the door, they did that scheduled meeting. And then all of the neighbors, they just left door hangers around that said, hey, we know that you guys got hit by a storm. We'd love to take a look at your roof. Here's our contact information. So there's definitely other options out there. And there's definitely other ways to continue to create your brand. So Mark, I have a couple questions that have been coming through. So one was, has social media taken the place of traditional SEO? And if so, for our industry, which social media is most effective?
Good question. I wouldn't say taken the place because, there's this ongoing debate and it's usually pay-per-click versus SEO, not so much social media, but social media is a great way to humanize a brand. Because these platforms, they're for-profit platforms, let's face it. Facebook is very much a pay-to-play game. And so if the idea is to just, do a couple posts here and there and expect to get volume of leads, predictably through organic social media, it's a little bit harder, right? If you're just posting to your page weekly, but you can build an audience, you can join local groups, you can get messages and offers out there, but it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time. So the idea with paid media versus, social is just that it's faster. It's like taking the elevator versus taking the stairs, but doesn't mean that it has to be one or the other. No, we're big believers that you should be doing both, right? In an ideal world, you're creating content, be it blog content, you're creating social media content. You're also running paid media campaigns, So I definitely wouldn't say replace. In terms of which networks, it comes down to who your target demographic is. So we have some customers who cater to the aging in place kind of demographic. So older clientele, right? Older clientele, guess what? They're not necessarily all that much on Instagram, but yeah, they are on Facebook, So you got to know who your customer demographic is and, just reach them where they are, reach them where they're hanging out and put messages out there that resonate with them. We're not an organic social media company. We're not an SEO company, but we have, we do this for ourselves. We have deep understanding of it and we can speak to and advise companies on, a lot of this stuff, which we do with many of our customers. But yeah.
All right, you guys, any other questions? I know we have one more minute.
I have a question.
Yes.
How you doing today, guys? Great presentation. I appreciate it. This is Jason Ayers. I'm, I guess, the marketing person here at Fast Pro. We're a water restoration company. I wanted to find out, can I build or send mass emails out to customers if I have their contact information in Job Nimbus?
Mass emails. You know what? I think you have to be within the specific content or the contact and then be able to send. But you know what, Jason, let me double check with someone really quickly and I'll email you back and let you know exactly that, but I don't believe so.
Okay, great. Yeah, I was thinking like, I mean, or I guess it's inside the contact, I guess probably be a more better fit if I can like maybe, create a campaign of, hey, thank you for your service. Then, hey, again, we're here for you.
Absolutely.
Right, cool.
You know, another good way to do that, and I can have someone reach out to you, but another great way to do that is through automations, right? Because within
that'd be great.
Canvas, you have the automations. So you can have it so like the moment that it ends or you switch your category to sold or complete, job complete, then you can automate an email to them saying, thank you so much. You guys have been awesome to work with, whatever it might be. So definitely the automations, I think, would be your best bet with that.
That'd be great. Yeah, if someone give me a call, that'd be great because I'm struggling a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I will definitely have someone do that.
Another thing that you mentioned, Rachel, you brought a print, which is really cool because we do have clients that are crushing it with print as well right now, and we have the ability to see into some of what these campaigns look like. But ultimately, tying digital to the print works when you're using dynamic, or not dynamic, but just call tracking numbers. So that gives you insight into what's working, what's not. The radius marking, like you said, prior to starting a job, you meet some of the neighbors, you can leave vouchers or gift cards, things like that. But then also, if you're going to be, if you're in the restoration business and there's a storm and you're going to be in an area, well, you can marry that area to, Facebook ads and a lot of retargeting ads and get in front of people. And so it's, they're seeing you offline, they're seeing you online, and they feel like you're everywhere. So that's really powerful too.
Perfect. Okay, any other questions, you guys? I know we're a minute over. I'm literally just going through the list of people and like just scrolling up and down. And then I'm just going to stop on someone. All right, ready? Okay. Jordan Griffith is the winner.
Nice. So that's a name we don't know. So I suspect it's not a customer. So that's great. Okay, Jordan.
I also go by that name.
Brendan goes, you said my name wrong. You guys cracked me up. Okay, so Jordan, you are the winner. I will send your information over to Mark so Mark can get in touch with you and you guys can chat about your landing page. I've seen a ton of questions asked about the video. Yes. Okay, you guys, I will totally send it to you. You have to give me some time for it to process on the back end. It does take some time, but you guys, if you don't see it by the end of today, you guys will see it tomorrow in your email. All right. Anything else that we can help you with? Any other questions? Again, we appreciate it. I'm so glad you guys found it informative. All right. I think we're good.
Great.
Okay,
Thanks so much.
you guys.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.